On today's show, Cooper Flagg is officially in Dallas. What do the Mavericks need to know about him from him? I'll tell you on today's Locked On Mavs.
Stop it! Stop! The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being in every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, just my adorable co-host today, my dog. He's sitting in the back. Today's episode, we're going to get into some Mavs rumors. There's been some random rumors floating around about the Mavs, about Kyrie, about Anthony Davis's market, about the Mavs and the draft, just random stuff like that. So we'll get into some of that a little bit later. I want to talk about Cooper Flagg's official visit to the Mavericks and what that means and what he's doing and all that kind of stuff. And so we'll talk about some of those rumors, but let's start here. Cooper Flagg has made his visit. He's here in Dallas. If you're listening to this on a Wednesday or late Tuesday night, he's here in Dallas. He's here right now. He experienced that great 95-degree weather that we had today. It was absolutely scorching. Great. But Cooper Flagg is here. According to Mark Stein, he had dinner with a contingent of team officials. He had a scheduled visit, and one source termed a light on-court component, which is like his workout thing that he's going to do, is going to happen on Wednesday or tomorrow is what he said. And so that's what Cooper Flagg is doing right now. And so it got me thinking. I started to think through, if he's doing this visit, it's kind of a formality. The Mavs have already done the thing where they have put Cooper Flagg in the number 32 jersey on their website. It was an accident. I had heard that the Mavericks asked some people to take that down, that they tweeted it and posted it. And Mark Stein even posted it on his Substack when he was talking about these rumors. He even said that the Mavs posted it and he put the whole screenshot on there. And it's like, the Mavs, it was unintentional that they did this. But everyone knows they're going to take Cooper Flagg. And this happens every time we have a number one guaranteed talent like Cooper Flagg that is going to go number one, and it's going to be no questions asked. There's going to be no concerns except for a contingent of Mavs fans that are concerned that Nico Harrison will do something with the pick. And I get that. It's like a PTSD reaction from Mavs fans. It's not going to happen. It's going to be Cooper Flagg. They're going to draft him. It's going to be great. We're all going to be excited about it. And that's going to happen in the draft. But why do they have this visit? What's the point of it? And so I started to think through this. And I have some questions. If I'm the Mavericks and I'm having dinner, if I'm these team officials that are having dinner with him, that are talking to him in person for the first time, knowing that they are drafting him, right? I guess maybe the combine, they had some meetings with him as well. And they had some the interview portion where you remember that story about the Celtics interviewing Cooper Flagg. Like, I guess team officials had contact with him there. But on the actual turf where everybody knows, okay, this is what's going to happen. So what would you want to know? And so I started to think through, and like the first thing I would want to know is, how does he view his fit with the team right now? Has Cooper Flagg sat down and thought about and looked through his fit with the Mavericks right now? We've got the story from Mark Stein. He also said on their DLS show, he said, rumbles are that Cooper Flagg is excited that he's being drafted to a team that isn't a bottom feeder and one that can be competitive. And so we know that. We know he's a super competitor. We know he wants to win all the time. We know that he's excited to be on a team that is going to be competitive or that has veterans, that is going to be better than the Wizards or the Hornets or whoever else. Name the team that could have gotten the number one pick that would have been really bad next year, even with him. And so we know that about him. But I'm curious how he sees his fit. What does he think about the Jason Kidd quote about him playing the two? What does he think of potentially at times? What does he think about playing with an Anthony Davis, playing with Kyrie Irving eventually? How does he see his game working with Dereck Lively, who he knows, Daniel Gafford, who was another rim rolling center? How does he see his game working with a PJ Washington? How do they fit? How does he see the Mavericks? And I kind of want to know what he thinks about Jason Kidd and about the sets that he's run and things like that. I would want to know that from Cooper Flagg because I just want to see how his mind works as far as thinking through How does he see himself? Where does he see himself fitting? And then that gives you an idea as a team of like, all right, this is where we fit this guy in from day one. This is how we introduce him into this ecosystem of the Mavericks. Because it's different than like getting a Trae Young, a Luka Doncic, an Anthony Edwards, where it's like, all right, all of a sudden, like you are the system. Everything is geared towards you. A Victor Wembanyama, you are the system. The Mavericks, it's different. Victor Wembanyama came in and he was the best player on that team. Luka came in and was the best player on that team. Like immediately, like we knew it immediately. Like they had one scrimmage after the draft right before training camp in 2018. And everyone knew he's the best player on this team. And it took Carlisle like a month or so to give him the reins of the team. And then he had the Dennis Smith Jr. thing. And then everything happened after that. But it didn't take that long. It would take a while. And Cooper Flagg would have to be very, very good his rookie year to be better than Anthony Davis, who we think is a top 10 player in the NBA. Like, start going through it. A top 10, for him to be a top 10 player. It even took Victor Wembanyama a whole season to get to that point right now. And so I'm curious to see how Cooper Flagg thinks, because do the Mavericks need to know anything about Cooper Flagg? Are they going to learn anything in this visit? Where like teams are not apparently getting to visit with Ace Bailey right now. And I'm sure these teams, the Sixers and Hornets and whoever else, are thinking about and considering drafting Ace Bailey 3, 4, 5, wherever. Would like to know some things about Ace Bailey right now, and would like to have one of these official visits and meet with somebody like that and talk through and say, all right, let's see if there's some red flag. Let's go on a first date, basically. Let's swipe right on each other, link up, not ghost each other, and actually like link up for a date and go out and let me hear your voice. Is it the voice that I'm concerned about, that I can't live with hearing that voice, right? The pictures are good, but when you hear the voice, that's the thing I can't live with. Is it a mannerism? Is it the way you talk about people in your life? Is it some red flags in how you talk about your job or your friends, or how you talk about past relationships? You know, the metaphor is I'm getting far away from the metaphor here. But I'm sure that those teams would want to know some things about Ace Bailey so that they can say, all right, we don't want to draft him. We're going in with an open mind. We're going in thinking we may draft him. But in one of these visits, we're going to see a red flag. We're going to see in a workout him brick a bunch of shots, or him have bad form, or him have, bad tendencies or something like that. For him to be 6'7", but show up in the workout and be like, all right, he doesn't really play 6'7". You know what I mean? That for the Mavs, there's nothing in that. This is a relationship going into it. This is like a Bumble date where you know the person and you're like, this is just a sign from the universe that I should go out with this person. And so you swipe right on a person you already know that has been in your life, and you're both already like, this was destined. It's basically finding an arranged marriage relationship on Bumble and swiping on it. Like, hey, this has already been arranged. The powers that be have already decided this, whether it was the NBA who rigged the lottery or it was just the Mavericks who got lucky. We've already decided this. There's nothing to learn, right? About red flags. There's nothing that the Mavericks will learn about Cooper Flagg that will make them not pick him. At least I would hope so. It would have to be something insane, like absolutely insane, for that to happen. The Mavs not pick him. So I'm looking through what are the things the Mavs would want to know, and I think the first thing I want to know is, how does he view the team? Remember Klay Thompson when the Mavs had offseason like talks with him for free agency? He came to the table, came to dinner that night with Michael Finley and everyone else. And he already had some ideas. This is how I fit with this team. This is how I fit with Kyrie Irving, with Luka Doncic, with all those players. And I love that about Klay. And it really showed a lot about a player that was going to come up to the Mavericks, show up to work, and not like mail it in, and not be a vet that just moved to another team and just wanted to collect the check and wanted to get paid a little bit more than maybe what the Warriors were offering, and then just like mail it in. And Klay absolutely did not do that. He came in and had a vision, fit right in. Took him a little bit to get his shot, but then eventually, like, he was one of the most important Mavericks last year and really held the team together. And so I'm curious what Cooper Flagg sees. I'm curious what he sees with his fit on the team. And I got some more. Let's talk about a couple other things that I think I would want to know if I'm the Mavericks talking to Cooper Flagg. And one of them includes what does he expect from himself? We'll talk about that and more coming up. Locked On Mavs continues next. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, and you can also go see a bunch of stuff. Today, I went to the Dallas Wings. Let's go, Paige Beckers. Gotta win. The Dallas Wings gotta win. I'm very excited about it. And I have gone to Dallas Wings games and used Game Time a bunch. You can go there right now. They have tickets for Tuesday, the 24th. It's the day before the draft at College Park. Tickets from $22. You can go see Paige Beckers play for $22. Great stuff on there. Oh, the section I sit in, there's a ticket. Let's see, row T is like a couple rows behind me for $35. I can go see the view from my seat. I can see exactly what I'm going to pay right here because it includes the fees on Game Time. You got to love that. So if you want to come hang out with me, I guess I'm going to watch the Dallas Wings game. I don't know if I'll be at that game. I think I'll be at the draft. But go check it out on Game Time. All that great stuff. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. It's all one word. For $20 off your first purchase, terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem your code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
They did too. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners. We appreciate you for listening each and every day to the show. We'll be going all off season. We'll have Summer League. We'll talk about free agency. We'll have all kinds of shows. Isaac and I slightly will be holding down the fort here at Locked On. So subscribe. Listen on audio too. We need more people to listen on audio. That is a thing we need to get better. I think we were like top 5 in Locked On this year. Yeah, that's not good enough. We gotta get higher. We're number 1 in YouTube. We gotta be top 5, at least number 1 in audio as well. All right. Cooper Flagg's making his official visit. He's doing his light on-court component on Wednesday. What do you think he's doing in his light on-court component? Also, I wanted to say this report that I already have joked about it with him. Kevin Gray reported that Cooper Flagg was said to be, quote, having fun on his visit with the Mavericks. No word yet if Cooper Flagg has, quote, talked to people, or if he has eaten food, or if he has sweated in the heat, or I love the visits like this. Everyone is so excited. And it's like, give me anything. Give me any report. I want to know Cooper Flagg's having fun. I want to know who he met. I want to know who he talked to. I want to know all those things. I just found that report funny from Kevin. We joked about it. I texted him. And he said, what did he say back to me? He said, he breathed in and out as well, quote unquote, according to Cooper Flagg. But he makes his visit. And here are some things I would want to know. First, I want to know how he views his fit with the Mavericks. I would also like to know like how he's wired. We've heard all these things about Cooper Flagg, but is this a job interview where you already know that you're hiring this person? And so like, I'm the NBA channel manager. I say that all the time. I don't think a lot of people really know what that is. So I manage all the shows on Locked On. I hire hosts. I've hired a bunch of hosts lately. I hired both of our Wizards hosts. I hired a Sixers host lately, our Nets guy. And I have these interviews. And sometimes I go into the interview and I'm like, I think I already know that I'm going to hire this person because I've heard their work. I've seen how they presented themselves. They've already had another interview with our talent director. Like they've already done those things. So I go into the interview and I'm like, all right, I want to know how you're wired. I want to know what you're about. I want to know what your background is. I want to know if you can talk shop. I want to know if you can talk ball. Like I want to know if you are like at the level where you have to talk about a team every single day. I want to know what you think about the team. I want that you're going to cover. And like, that's how I take this. And I think the Mavericks would take that with Cooper Flagg too. How are you wired? What do you think about the Desmond Bane trade? What do you think about these two teams in the finals? What did you see from the Thunder? What do you see from the Pacers? That's what I'm talking about. I want to know how he's wired, how he's approaching the offseason, and what he thinks about NBA basketball. What does he think a winning basketball situation looks like in the NBA? Has he thought about it? Maybe he hasn't. And maybe that's where you learn, all right, we've got to teach this guy the NBA game. We've got to get him under Anthony Davis's wing. Let's connect him with Anthony Davis early in the summer. Can they go do workouts together? Can they go talk about playoff basketball? Can we get him on Kyrie Irving's stream? Shout out to Kyrie, man. He's just out there putting the content out, just living like the rest of us. I saw him play this country song, but Texas is getting a Kyrie, man. I want to know how Cooper Flagg is wired. What motivates him? How does he grow? How does he learn? What has he been growing? What has he been, doing learning? Has he reached out to anybody already? Maybe in the NBA connections he has. Has he talked to Coach K about NBA players or things like that? What has he worked on since March? I want to know a lot of things like that. So I also want to know what he expects from himself in his rookie year. That's a big thing. What do you expect from yourself in your rookie year? I would just sit down at dinner and I would ask that to him. What do you expect from yourself? Because maybe he'll have unrealistic expectations and maybe it's, all right, we've got to hone in those a little bit. Or maybe we love that. We love that he's like, all right, I want to be an all-star my rookie year. Like, well, okay. Well, dang. I want to make the playoffs rookie year. I want to play 30 minutes a game in the playoffs. I don't know if these are things he would say. Probably not. He's way more media trained. But maybe in these meetings, it's not a media canned answer. You know what I mean? I want to know what he expects from himself. Because also, Jason Kidd's probably going to be there. And he's probably in these meetings and stuff too. Then if I'm Jason Kidd, I can go back to this meeting at times. In training camp, during preseason, during the season, when he hits the rookie wall inevitably, and say, remember what you told me. I want to start in the playoffs. I want to be in the playoff rotation. I want to make the playoffs. This is how you make the playoffs. And use that as motivation for him. He may not need that as like a carrot that he holds out there. But I would want to know those things. To get to know Cooper Flagg, to get to know what we're getting into, and to get to know who's going to lead my franchise after this next era. Like, oh, okay, I can't. It should be the next like 15 years with Cooper Flagg, right? Gosh, can't believe we're in this scenario where that's like not a given with this franchise. Ugh. All right, let's talk about some rumors. Let's talk about some rumors that have gone on. So Mark Stein has reported on his Substack. Again, it's just, you have to subscribe to Mark Stein's Substack right now. He said, I don't hear anyone forecasting scenarios where Kyrie Irving is no longer a Maverick. I haven't heard one scenario presented where he ends up with another team. This is good for a couple reasons. I think Kyrie is going to play ball with the Mavericks. And there was a report recently from, not a report, there was recently an article from Bobby Marks, who used to be working front offices, and he works for ESPN now, where he went through and he was like, all right, let's go through these free agents and let's talk through the contracts that I would give them if I was in the front office. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was really interesting. And for Kyrie, he gave him a 3-year, $113 million deal. And that would like average out to like $35 million for this upcoming season. Then like $38 million, then $41 million. But the $35 million would be incredible for the Mavericks because it would put the Mavericks below the second apron. It would also give them like a $5.7 million tax mid-level exception. And so that's the two different things. One of them is getting them below the second apron. Massive. People have been calling it a hard cap. That second apron. It's that second level of luxury tax. There's like the luxury tax, there's a first apron, and then there's a second apron. And the second apron is the hell that the Celtics are in, that they're going to try to desperately get out of, that the Suns are in, the Bucks are in, like these teams that have paid a bunch of guys that were like, all right, screw it. We're just going to go in. We're going to pay these guys and we're going to deal with all the ramifications later. Now they're dealing with the ramifications. They're going to get draft picks frozen. They can't trade multiple players at once. They can't aggregate salaries. Like you can't trade 2 players for one. You have to trade 1 player for like multiple, or 1 player for, then they can only have a certain number of roster players. There's so many things that hold you back. And so that's why people have called it a hard cap. And so that $35 million, like a lower number for Kyrie, would get the Mavericks under that second apron, which would be massive. Huge savings for the Mavs. Then I mentioned it would give them that exception. It would give them that exception, and that's more than the veteran minimum. And more than the veteran minimum would help them to get the vet type players that they want in free agency. And like that would just be another little carrot that they can put out there and say, hey, we have a spot for you to play, veteran guard X, whoever you are. And we also have $5.7 million instead of the 3.4 or whatever the veteran minimum is going to end up being for that player. Depends on how many years they've played and what the salary cap is and all that. So that's 2 things. And so going back to the original report, there's no scenarios where Kyrie's not a Maverick. He's not trying to play the leverage game with the Mavericks, it sounds like. Remember a couple years ago, he was playing that leverage game, talking about Phoenix, talking about the Lakers potentially. There's a lot of rumors about Phoenix, and there's just no way he was going to get there, right? Like there's just no scenarios where he was going to end up on the Suns. They just didn't have the assets to send, and it just didn't really make any sense. But we kept hearing those rumors and kept hearing those reports. But this year, Mark Stein, there's no scenarios. And maybe they'll pop up. Maybe it'll happen. But it seems like right now, Kyrie's going to play ball with the Mavericks. He's going to put them first, but still take care of himself and all that. And I just think that that's a real positive thing. Coming up, Shams Charania reported about Anthony Davis's trade market. Not that the Mavericks are looking, but he did. And I found it fascinating. Let's talk about that and more. Coming up, Locked On Mavs. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Olipop. I love it. I love Olipop. I've been drinking it a lot. They sent us some. I'm definitely going to buy some after this. This is the root beer. Delicious. To me, it tastes just like a root beer. And the thing that I love about it is a lot of sodas will have like 40 grams of sugar. Like you see those pictures of the pile of sugar that's inside of a can of, soda or whatever. This one right here, delicious, 2 grams of sugar. 2 grams, 35 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and also has 9 grams of prebiotic fiber. Every can is reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. Awesome. No artificial sweeteners, gut-friendly ingredients like OlliSmart, a blend shown to support digestive and overall health. It's soda that tastes like the real thing, but actually does something good for your body. Go check out Olipop. It's all over the place. You can find it in any kind of store and all that. Get a free can of Olipop anywhere, and they'll reimburse you. So you buy any 2 cans anywhere. Go buy them anywhere. Go to their website, drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. Claim your free can. They'll reimburse you. They literally will. Like you submit your. I may do this. Like I don't know if they'll allow me to do. You submit your receipt and they'll give you the money back for the can that you bought. Drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. Take advantage of it now.
It's great. It's great, dude. Dude, it's great. It's great. It's great, broski. It's bro, name it. It's great.
All right. Let's talk more about rumors happening around the Dallas Mavericks. Shams Charania was on ESPN today, and he was talking about the Desmond Bane trade, and they were asking him about the 4 first-round picks and all that stuff that they, that the Magic had to give up to get Desmond Bane. And somebody brought up the Anthony Davis thing too, and he's like, well, if Anthony Davis was on the market right now, he'd fetch 4 or 5 first-round picks in the market. Anthony Davis had value and has value right now. There's been some people that have said, oh, the Mavs got less for Luka Doncic than the Grizzlies got for Desmond Bane. That's just not true. It's just not true. Anthony Davis has value, and it's sucked for Anthony Davis. He's been put in this situation, and I understand from some Mavs fans that, all right, he hasn't been healthy, got injured 15 minutes into his first game. And the stock on him is just very low for some people right now. I kind of get that, but you can't say he has none. He's a very, very good player. He's he's a top 10 player when healthy, and it's not a Joel Embiid when healthy. Like that, it's a different scenario. He's been healthy way more than Joel Embiid has. It's very different. But I found that fascinating that if he put him out there, he would fetch you that many even more picks. And so the Mavs won't do this. There's no reason that this should come up, right? I don't think Nico Harrison has spent 1 minute this summer thinking about trading Anthony Davis. He's on his timeline thing. He's thinking about this team, and this team is going to be a good team. If healthy, this team can go to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think there's one team besides the Thunder out there that I wouldn't consider them beating in a playoff series. Even if the Spurs get a Kevin Durant. I'm looking at that going, all right, well, we got the size. We've got tons of versatility. Kyrie would absolutely have to be healthy and be good. They'll probably have to get another guard for sure. All things that would have to happen throughout the offseason. But yeah, I just found that very interesting that he could get 5 first-round picks. And so then you start thinking about my scenario where they blow it up. And Nico Harrison's not considering this. But if he did, the Mavs could trade Anthony Davis, maybe sign and trade Kyrie somewhere to help him go win somewhere else. Get some assets. Keep some of the guys you have now, because even your win now players, your Gafford and your PJ, they're 26. By the time Cooper Flagg's ready to play, they're going to be 30. They're going to be the age that most of the Mavericks were when they won the finals in 2011. And so you're like, all right, well, we just keep this core that we have. cash in on some of these assets and get a really good young guard with some of these assets to go and like restart this timeline with Cooper Flagg now. I don't know. They could do that. They could do that if they wanted to. They're not going to. And so, but then, I don't know, crazier things have happened. A couple other random things here. Rafael Barlow, we mentioned this on the show yesterday. I had Rafael on the show yesterday, and Rafael said in a recent Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, the Mavs are trying to move back into the back end of the first round to get a point guard. And so yesterday we talked about some of those guys, Yegor Demin, Nolan Traore. We talked about some second round guys like Tyrese Proctor and we talked about some other guys that they could trade into. Isaac did an episode too where he talked about some of his trade back end targets. But I don't think I put enough emphasis on the fact that that's a real rumor. The Mavs are trying to do that. And so one of those guys could be the Mavericks pick there. The Mavs also have 3 open two-way spots. And so I think that's like, after an actual roster spot, that's the next best thing that a team can offer a player is, hey, we've got these two-way spots. You will be guaranteed a two-way spot. There's going to be some good second round pick players that will try and like finagle their way out of the second round and to be undrafted so that they could just go sign with somebody and be a two-way guy. And that's a benefit that the Mavericks have that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. But they have that. They have all 3 of them open because you can't get Kessler Edwards back on a two-way. You can't get Kai Jones back on a two-way. Brandon Williams has already been signed. So they don't have any players to that two-way spot right now. Which is interesting, but that's where they are. The Mavs are trying to get another back end of the first round or early second pick to get that guard. I keep coming back to Tyrese Proctor, that name, because he's played with Lively. He's played with Flagg. He's a bigger guard. He's young, but he's just steady. That's what Rafael said about him yesterday. Last thing is that Brian Windhorst mentioned a couple days ago about the Jason Kidd New York Knicks thing. I think the most important thing here is the message that the Mavericks sent out there was not that this was a nah to New York. This was a no. They are not interested in further negotiations at all on Jason Kidd. And so the story is done. We talked about it a lot. It seemed like a weird story at the time. We had heard rumblings even before this Knicks story that Jason Kidd would be open to leaving the Mavericks and going somewhere else. And so this was not this. And if we've heard it, then it's gone. It's far and wide, right? Like nobody was surprised by this story. No reporters were surprised by this story. If it came all the way down to like Isaac and myself, it's, other reporters have heard it too, that Jason Kidd would be open to leaving. And so we weren't surprised by that story. A lot of fans, it sounded like, were surprised by that story. That, why are you trying to run Jason Kidd out of town? It's like, we're not. It's just, he was open to it before, and now an opportunity came. There's a good opportunity to play to coach a guy that he's already coached and all that. But I like that he said, this is not a nah. This is a no. Like the Mavericks are not even willing to negotiate. They're not even open to like any kind of trade kind of thing, which is what negotiation implies. And here we are. So that's some rumors. There's some other random stuff. Isaac's going to be back tomorrow. We'll talk about some more rumors around the NBA. But guys, go check out all the great stuff that we're doing. Go check out our subtext. It's our text line. You can text us 214-643-8637. There's a link in the description where you can subscribe. Get a couple of weeks free and then try it out. See if you like it. We'll send every rumor I ever see. I'll text it straight to your phone. So go check that out. Great stuff all the time. Go get an Olipop can. Delicious. I'm going to drink the rest of this. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.